a hell of a shakeup in New York City. We all know about Andrew Cuomo, and he's convinced he's going to come back. But one thing I would try to warn people is that you're recognizing just how corrupt the system really is, because all these politicians, especially mayors of major cities, are figureheads. He is making every illicit backroom deal probably known to man in order to make this happen. He's also very out in front in support of Israel. Of course, Zohran has obviously been very vocal about the Palestinians. How do you see this race unfolding at this point? And, what do you attribute the questionable level of support that Cuomo is getting right now?
Well, the answer to that last part of your question is it's all about money. A lot of the moneyed interests, the real estate developers, the business interests, to some extent, some of the unions who are comfortable with working with Cuomo because these are large entities that want to make money, and they're sort of more comfortable working with what I would call, flexibly corrupt figures than they would be with someone with integrity like Zohran or Brad Lander. I mean, what concerns me now, first of all, I think Zohran has run an excellent campaign. I met him recently. I think his platform is, it's just a rocket ship. It's heading to the moon. I love it. Okay. But, there's a lot of other good candidates, Jessica Ramos, Brad Lander, the comptroller who I know. I don't get super involved in local politics other than I just love all these progressive candidates putting it out there. What bothers me is the progressives are splitting the vote. So you have sort of Cuomo on one side, who's at like 35%, Zohran's at 22%, Brad Lander's at 10%. And I mean, the left has to shake out and unite for Cuomo to be defeated. And, I know there's ranked choice voting. We'll see how that shakes out in this election. But I do believe Zohran has a chance. He's a strong number 2 in the polls, and there's a lot of votes of progressives behind him who, if they were to go to him, he could win this.
I think you're right. And I think it also depends on how they rank what that ultimately is going to look like. I hope that the city of New York learns their lesson. We saw what happened with Yulee New against Mr. Goldman. She absolutely should have been in Congress. She's been a guest on our podcast multiple times. She would have been a much better representative. And of course, she wasn't corporate bought, which of course, when it's not enough that you're the heir to the Levi Strauss jeans fortune. You're also a corporate whore, and you're a Zion Nazi on top of everything else. So I hope that there is that lesson learned. And I think if anybody is obvious at this point that the two crossover candidates, without question, for Zohran is going to be Brad Lander and Jessica Ramos. They share about 12 to 14% of the vote
They
share.
need to get in line behind him and be cooperative.
Yeah. Do you think there's any chance of that happening?
Well,
look, we hold out hope, but the problem is in leftist circles, there's too many feelings and too many egos, and a lot of times people can't get past either, and then they don't think of strategy.
And I also think it's very important that these conversations are happening right now, because you better believe that Cuomo, who, again, he was the freaking governor of New York, for God's sake.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about a guy who's going over to Scott Stringer as we speak, basically saying, what do you want in my administration? Like, what's going to take for you to go tell your people to vote for me on the second or third line? Because he's doing that. Like, he's working the phones. I assume Zohran is doing that as well. But I agree with what you alluded to, which is this whole idea of, where is the corporate infrastructure of New York City going to go? It's clearly going to go to Cuomo. Does Zohran have enough grassroots support to pull this off? I don't know if you've seen this or not. This is a 30-second ad that apparently is dropping all over the city today. This happened earlier today.
I'm Assemblyman Zohran Mamdani, and I'm running for mayor to freeze the rent for every rent-stabilized tenant.
Wait, you're gonna freeze my rent?
Yes.
Did I hear rent freeze?
Yes! This guy's gonna freeze the rent.
No hike?
None.
This guy's gonna freeze the rent.
It's true. As your next mayor, I will freeze your rent.
Paid for by Zohran for NYC.
I vote for him because he's a cutie patootie. I got to tell you that
Let me tell you something. The two videos you show me, that one and the guy, one of God, I mean, those are powerful videos. That is a beautiful illustration of how to utilize social media. I actually look at the other ads on social media for Brad and the other able candidates. Zohran is working these social media angles so effectively.
Good.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Cuomo's going to clean up in obviously, the upper east and west sides of Manhattan. He'll clean up in Staten Island. He's going to clean up in parts of Queens. But you know what? Between lower Manhattan, obviously portions of Queens, and obviously the Bronx and Brooklyn, I mean, Zohran just has to get people out there. And if he does, I think he's got a chance. I mean, I agree with you. No one is enthusiastically supporting Cuomo, but people are enthusiastically supporting Zohran. And
that's totally true. And a lot of people who vote for Cuomo are going to be holding their nose when they do it. I mean, Cuomo just has a bad reputation here. It's hard to find someone who really likes him. I think that his support comes from just pure transactional money play. I really do, from industries.
I hate to say it too, brother, but this is the saddest part about politics. The name ID is still a factor. Like, people just know the Cuomo name, especially what is being shown is the older Black and Latino voters are breaking for Cuomo because, as somebody mentioned, Mario Cuomo was a very revered politician in New York City, but his sons are not him at all.
Not even close. I mean, I know two of my close friends work with Cuomo for many years in government, and the stories they tell are not flattering. And Lindsay Boylan, I don't know if you know her, Lindsay's a friend of mine who, I mean, her story about what Cuomo
We've had her on.
Yeah.
We've had Lindsay on, yeah.
She's excellent. So, yeah, I mean, we'll see how it shakes out. It's a real critical race because I think it can be a real referendum on a lot of the Trump stuff. If we can get a progressive socialist into office running the nation's largest city, that'll be a huge sort of vibe force and karma force and counterweight to what Trump is trying to do. And frankly, it would launch Zohran into a national political leader.